Today I'm going to break down exactly how to get an 80% show rate or higher on all of your sales calls for your high ticket offer in 2026 and 2027. So if you're running any type of call funnel, webinar funnel, maybe you're pitching, booking a call at the end, whether you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, you sell an info product, your show rate could potentially be one of the biggest things that's the easiest to fix that could make you the most money just because of how the math works. And maybe you just didn't actually do the math. So in this video, I'm going to break all of that down and how to actually fix your show rate. Literally the whole step process that I've used to get some of the show rates on my offers up to 90% in some months. And I don't mean 90% with literally like 50 leads booking a call. I mean multiple hundreds of leads booking calls. And I want to run you through some real math here. So most info businesses are probably sitting at around a 50 to 60% show rate, and they're just calling it normal. That means out of every 10 people who book a call with you, at least 5, maybe 4 aren't even showing up. I want you to think about what that actually costs you, because if you have a low show rate, you probably have a low close rate as well. So if you're closing at 20% and your offer is $10,000, for example, and you're getting around 50 book calls a month, at a 40% show rate, you're only having around 20 conversations, but at 80, you're having 40. So potentially by doubling your show rate, you're doubling the amount of calls that come in and potentially doubling the amount of money that you're making. That could be the difference between someone making $100,000 a month compared to $200,000 a month, or 250 compared to 500, or even $1 million compared to 2 million, which would kind of be insane. But you'd be running the same exact funnel, the same exact offer, same exact closer, same exact setter. You're probably just gonna have to switch up the systems, and the only variable is whether people show up or not. I've worked with clients making anywhere from as low as $50,000 a month to $100,000 a month, and even some up to as high as $500,000 a month and $800,000 per month as my highest deal went. And the ones who consistently print money through either cold traffic or organic or everything at once is that they are all obsessive about show rate, aka me, the marketer behind all of the offers. So I'm just going to walk you through every single layer of the show rate system today: pre-framing, confirmation pages, psychology, email, SMS, setter and closer best practices, ads. I mean, everything. And also the psychology of why people actually ghost you and then how you can stop it before it happens. So my name's Evan. I run an info product agency. I've worked with a lot of the biggest personal brands in the world. Some people like Jordan Belfort, Clavicular, the School of Hard Knocks, a lot of big names in the space. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a full blueprint. Let's go. So before I actually get into this guide, you might see numbers like this, but I still want you to think way bigger. I want you to think of not making 40K a month, not making 80K a month, making $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 a month. Because it's like, bro, we all know in the info space, 100K a month is damn near poverty level now. It's like if you're not doing multiple 6 figures a month, it's like, I kind of see it as a failure. That's the standard we set here. So let's keep going. I want to tell you, before I actually get into the tactics, right? I want to tell you why people actually ghost their calls, because if you don't know exactly what makes people ghost calls and you try to actually fix it, it's going to make it way harder because you don't understand the deep-rooted reason that's in every single prospect's subconscious brain that you need to fix before the actual call. So you need to understand how this process actually works. So first I want to talk to you about the interest spectrum, okay? This is why people actually ghost. So people don't ever ghost because you think they're a bad lead. It's just because their interest level drops. You can prevent people from lowering their interest level. So with the interest spectrum right here that you see on my screen, it's this little 5-step process. It honestly would be better if it was from low to high, but I'm gonna explain it here, right? So picture it from the least interest level up here to the highest interest level down here. It's 5 steps. So the first part of the interest spectrum is no interest. And if they have no interest, very low probability that you're going to get a deal done, even if it's probably low ticket. So don't want to be there. The second one is curiosity. So with curiosity, it's probably enough to get someone to buy maybe a $1 low ticket thing, maybe a $20 low ticket thing, where it's like they're curious. Obviously, it says it in the name of, yeah, I want to know exactly how this thing works. I think I could potentially see myself doing it. I just want to know more. And then the third level is general interest. And with general interest, it's definitely not enough to get a deal done. It might be a little bit to be able to get someone over like a mid-ticket deal yet. Obviously, we're talking about high ticket right here. So mid-ticket doesn't really matter here, but that's the level that they're at. They're definitely not going to spend high ticket with you yet unless they just have a fuck ton of money and they're willing to invest and put their nuts on the table. But general interest is where they definitely know that they can see themselves doing it. They just need a little bit more proof on you actually being the person to teach it, and probably a little bit more on the actual model. They want to know exactly like the ins and outs of it instead of just like the general understanding. All right, so the fourth level of interest on the interest spectrum is called high interest. This is definitely where they're probably ready to get over the line, pay high ticket. They might need a little bit of more convincing, but this is a good level. It's obviously not the best level that you want someone to be at. This is where someone might give you a couple of objections on an actual call, but it's still a very easy sale if you have a decent closer, like a decent closer. Like, bro, you don't even need a good closer for this. If you have a decent closer, they can probably get them over the edge. And then the fifth level is conviction, right? Very at the bottom. Obviously, I would say it's best at the top, but this is where like they're a fucking lay down. They might give you one objection or something like that, but most of the time this person is a lay down. They have a lot of pain, a lot of urgency. They see the reason to move now. The best level. That's where we're aiming for. We want people to have the most conviction that our product, our service, our offer is going to be the thing to help their life in XYZ way. And most book leads come in around like the middle level, if not a little bit under, right? That's where they come in. And then if you leave them alone, if you don't actually send them stuff before the actual call, if you don't do the right thing before the call, their lead interest is naturally going to drift down. And life comes back, things pop up, they got work, maybe they have kids. Always fucking kids get in the way. Boyfriend, girlfriend gets in the way, yada, yada, yada. Just their complacency gets back. And they're probably going to forget why they booked that little like spark of motivation that they had after they watched your VSL or after they sat through your whole ass webinar. It probably went away. That little spark of motivation where they were like, yeah, I know I need to do this. It faded away a little bit now. So now we need to get that back up. And that's if you leave the lead be, if no setter communication or closer communication is done, especially you, the actual founder. So your job is to just kind of build a system. This isn't just like send an email, have a page up. This is a whole entire system, right? And this is the layer one. This is the confirmation page. This is the whole foundation of where this thing comes from. This does a few things right here. So the confirmation page, I see most people actually get this wrong, even though this is kind of a decently well-known topic within the info space now. So the first thing that I want you to understand is that interest peaks at the moment that someone books. From them finding out who you are as a personal brand or maybe seeing your ads, whatever their interest level was is not as high as it was whenever they booked that call. Up to them booking a call, it's the highest at that point. So if it's just like a, hey, thanks, see you on your call, or maybe it's just like a, yeah, your call is at this time here, watch this video, and in that video you're going to say something like exactly what I just said, where you're like, hey, your call's coming up, make sure to show up, make sure to turn your camera on, make sure to make sure to not be driving, make sure to be on a laptop. It's like, it's good to say that, but that's not enough. So here's what you actually should say. So one, there should be a personal video, but it has to go a little bit more in depth. And this is something that you should say. So it's basically just a 2-minute, 3-minute video, could be up to 5 minutes long, where it's like a, hey, congrats for booking your call. And then you want to do a few things now. You want to set expectations. You also want to tell them what to do next, what comes next, so nothing is out of the blue. And you also do want to make them feel good for actually taking the action and booking the call. So here's kind of what a sample would look like of an actual confirmation page video if I had to kind of speed run through it. So this video right here is probably going to be around a 2 to 3 minute video, up to 5 minutes. There's a few things that you want to do. You want to set expectations. You also want to give some type of urgency. You want to give them what exactly is going to happen next, so nothing is out of the blue. And you do also want to tell them like, hey, thanks, congrats for booking your call. This call is going to be here. Here's how you're going to join it. If you have any other questions, hit up my sales team. Obviously, you're not going to say my sales team on the call. You'll say like my team, my assistant, whatever. So that's what this video does. It just sets expectations. You know how I said something about urgency? So this is another thing you can kind of put inside of this video. If it's going to be 3 minutes long, if it's going to be 5 minutes long, maybe 20% of the video, or maybe up to 30-40% of the video could actually be on a scarcity or urgency based topic. One thing I really like to do is I like to look at real world math. So whatever your offer is, for example, there was an offer that I was on where it was a private label Amazon offer. And basically how this client's students actually made money from starting their own private label brand was by advertising it on one of the platforms, TikTok. There was a few other ones, but one of the platforms was TikTok. And I looked this up. In the year 2025, the amount of money that was spent on products each day on TikTok, all the products that were being advertised on TikTok each day, the amount of customers and the amount of money that was collectively spent on those products each day was around $32 million per day. And I think that was in the US alone. But by the year 2028, which it's 2026 now, in 2 years, that number of how much money is spent on TikTok products each day, not even only just including TikTok Shop, it was going to triple in the next 2 years. So meaning the amount of money that was spent on TikTok each day on products that you are going to be advertising with your private label brand, it's going to triple from $32 million a day to a little over $95 million a day. So if you, the one who's watching this video, if you can get in now and start learning from someone, aka me, the founder, who's already been there, done that, already taught a bunch of students, have already made millions with my own private label brand, and you actually learn from what I'm about to tell you, you are going to be in a way better position compared to someone who starts 6 months down the line, or starts even a year down the line, even someone who starts 3 months down the line. So we just explained first movers advantage. That's something I like to do a lot, where you're just explaining the simple concept of, hey, the people who get in the earliest are mostly the ones who have the most success. It's a very simple concept to know for you and I, but most people don't even think about this when they're like actually trying to get people to show up to a call. So that's a little bit of a pro tip that I'll give you. And actually, I don't say this on this list right here. Another thing that is kind of widely known is something called breakout videos. If you don't know what breakout videos are, you might know them as FAQ videos. Basically what it is right below your actual confirmation page video that I just talked about, this little personal video. You're basically going to have all the objections and all the questions and all the reasons that someone wouldn't move forward with your offer in video format of you speaking to the camera, literally just like this, or it could be in a Loom video format. You're basically just going to be explaining all of the questions in depth. And you're also going to be pre-selling people into your offer in those actual videos. So for the example I just talked about with the Amazon private label thing, you could basically make a video that says, why should I do this now? And you could just take that clip of you explaining first movers advantage and the actual numbers in the real world example, and then stick it in that video. And then that's a, hey, why should I do this now? Right here, I'm going to tell you. You could also make videos like, hey, what's exactly included in this offer? Like, if this is so good and it's making you so much money, why are you teaching other people how to do it? You could come up with a really good reason for that. It's kind of widely known. Most people get those wrong because they don't actually pre-sell in those videos. They literally just answer the question. That's it. But anyway, moving forward is credibility assets. So kind of straightforward. You need to have social proof to really scale an offer. It's like, you can't only just use yourself. You're going to have student results. If you can't get your students results, then video literally isn't for you. So show specific numbers, like very, very specific numbers. The more specific a number is, like down to the dollar or down to the $100 number, if you're talking in the thousands or hundreds of thousands, it's going to be a lot more believable if you're talking with a very specific number in mind. So yeah, case studies, very simple. And next could be a short survey. This is very optional. I've done this a couple times, but I don't do it that much. It could literally just be like a 2-question thing or a 1-question thing that says something like, what's your number one challenge right now with X? Or what's your biggest question with Y? So a few things that this does is it creates micro commitment, because if someone actually answers more, engages more with you, your sales team, your offer, your funnel, whatever it might be, more commitment equals a higher probability to get a sale. And it also gives your setter and your closer a little bit of sales ammo to actually know where to actually guide the call and know where possibly their actual biggest pain is surrounding your offer or your product. And then fourth is content links, right? So you could probably put a couple YouTube videos that are objection handling. One actually good pro tip that I've done is basically in a certain niche that I have a client in, we'll create a YouTube video and we'll title the video something around answering your stupid questions around niche, or answering your stupid questions around offer. Even if you want to make this like a private unlisted video and then only link it here for people who book calls, you could do that if you want. It's just going to be like a conversational YouTube video where you sit down, talk about all the questions that you get, and it's framed as a YouTube video instead of something that's going to try to sell them with like a headline and a VSL and an application, where people kind of catch on to that now. But yeah, the more consumption, the better. Also, I'll tell you about Google's 7-11-4 rule. If you haven't seen this, look it up. Google 7-11-4 rule. It's pretty much a rule that, Google, like one of the biggest companies, if not the biggest company in the world, came up with, that people are way more likely to buy your product. I think like 80% more likely to buy your product. Don't quote me on that. If they spend 7 hours with you total on 11 different touch points on 4 different platforms. So if they spend 7 hours watching all your videos, talking to your salespeople total collectively, perfect. If they have 11 different touch points with you, meaning like they watch your VSL for one, they read this email, they read that email, they read that text, they see this YouTube video, they see your confirmation page, they also talk to your setter, talk to your closer. You see how it builds up touch points? If you can get 11 different touch points, perfect. And then if you can do it on 4 different platforms for the third part, the 7-11-4 rule, if you can get them on 4 different platforms to engage with you, whether that's Instagram, YouTube, email, and maybe X, Perfect. And you can be strategic with this well too, like point them to the things that you want them to see. It's all about pre-framing, right? So now we're going to go on to layer 2. This is the email and SMS part. The thing that most people will get wrong about this is they're either going to, one, think that they're spamming their audience too much and people are going to get annoyed with it, which is very wrong. I'm going to tell you why. And then 2, they'll either do this, but they'll do it wrong. Like I can't tell you how many times I've either had a consulting client or someone that I just like am helping kind of, and I tell them what to do, and then they just don't do it right. So I'm going to tell you what to do right here. See how it says value, not just reminders? Like we're very heavy on that. You don't want to only send reminders. Sure, you're going to have your reminders in your sales process with your email and SMS automations, but it's not going to be all just reminders, okay? So this is kind of the max that I've seen work, and what I've heard from a lot of people is that you should send 6 emails a day, up to 6 emails a day, in the 48 to 72 hour range before your sales call occurs with your prospect and your closer. So what this means is you're going to be sending minimum 12 emails to people that are value based. So if you don't want to start out with 6 emails a day, honestly, you shouldn't start out with 6 emails a day. If you've never done this, you should probably start out with 2. Then see how the actual data goes. If your open rates are over 50%, go to 3 emails a day. If it doesn't drop below 50%, go to 4. If it doesn't drop below 50%, why not add more? Because if your open rate is going to stay the same, but you're giving people more content to consume, then there's nothing wrong with that. It's like you might need to test subject lines or switch out email copy to make sure it's more compliant with like Gmail's inbox like promo and whatever. Yeah, you might have to do that. But if you can add more emails in there and do it gradually while your open rate stays the same and hopefully grows, why not do it? And with these emails, I actually want to talk to you about what to actually send. So you're not going to be like, yo, your call is in 72 hours, 6 hours later, yo, your call is in 66 hours, 6 hours later. Like, we're not going to do that. We're basically going to take all the questions, all the second layer questions, all the expectations, and all the objections and throw them into the actual emails. We're going to deeply get into the actual like reasons, right? We're going to actually write long form written copy. These emails should be 300 words minimum, up to like probably 500, 600 words if you really want to like stay compliant here with this actual lesson. So yeah, think of the objections that you get. Think of the questions that you get. Think of the questions people would have around your offer. Explain that in the actual email. Make the subject line related to it. And then with SMS, you could do one right when they book. You could probably do one like a day after that. And then when it actually gets to the day of the call, these are what your reminder emails should actually look like. And by the way, this isn't even the setter or the closer stuff yet. This is all the automated email stuff you should be using within your ESP, like ConvertKit. Maybe you use ActiveCampaign for SMS, you know, whatever platform you like to use. I like Simple Texting or SendBlue. So you should send like 3 SMS messages and then also emails the day of the call happening. So you should do one the day before, that's before, and then the morning of, where you're not going to send a link. It's pretty much like, hey, today's the day. We'll send you your link here like 15 minutes before the actual call. You also have it in that email that you got when you first booked the call. And then obviously going to send one 1 hour before and then one 15 minutes before. And then they should be responsive. Like if they're not responsive, obviously do your follow-up, call them up, dial them up. And if they don't show up, obviously you can't get 100% show rate. Maybe that's a limiting belief. But anyway, open rates for SMS should be near 100%. And this is the next part that I really wanted to talk to you about that's going to help you with actual email and SMS part. So there's 4 type of like quadrants that you want to get into for what to actually talk about in these emails and the text messages that will also correlate with what I'm going to talk to you soon about, which is the ads, which just stay with me for a sec. So questions. Things that they're just wondering in the back of their head. Things are like, okay, how long does it take to get X result? How many people have you helped? Like, how does your business model actually work? How does your certain strategy, how does your unique mechanism actually work? You know, explain that. And then second layer questions are the follow-ups to those first answers. So for example, the private label, I'm just going to use the private label e-com client as an example. So a good example of this for that private label e-com client would be, one of the questions would be basically, how do I market my products when I actually start my private label brand? And then we'd tell them. That's just a first layer question that they have. A second layer question after you actually tell them where to actually market it, it would be, okay, how do I market it on that actual platform or on that actual strategy? It's like, how do I do it? See how there's a different question of, it's like, okay, I ask one question, then they get the answer, then that creates another question tied to that first question. And then obviously objections, pretty straightforward. It's like an objection and a question could be very different. And then an expectation of like what your results actually look like, the timeline to get results, other students, stories of maybe when things went wrong, stuff like that. So yeah, very good. Now, up next is the content retargeting part, content remarketing. You might hear different variations of it. You might even hear the hammer them strategy made by Mr. Jeremy Haynes. Very smart marketer. Even I've learned a lot of stuff from him. Technically a mentor in a way. I bought some of his stuff. So this is very important. This is probably one of the best working strategies in this actual whole video, but it's probably the part where most people are just gonna hear about how it actually works, and then they're just gonna be like, it sounds like it's too much work to do. I'm telling you, it's not. So I want to talk to you about this, right? So basically, by the way, this should be like 30 to 50 pieces of short form content right here. So basically what you're gonna do is in your ad account, you're gonna make sure, so whenever someone books a call, you're gonna have like the pixel tracking code on that confirmation page that we talked about before. So whenever that pixel actually hits, they're gonna enter a retargeting audience, okay? So in that little audience, you're gonna serve them 30, not 15 to 20, but 30 to 50 pieces of short form content in that 72 hours before the call. And by the way, these don't have a CTA. I mean, if you want to like add a little link that probably goes in depth on an objection that you're handling, and this is only for the people who book a call, it's not going to be retargeted to your whole audience. Don't worry. You can do that if you want. But yeah, it's no CTA. It's no pitch. It's literally just putting, again, the 4 quadrants right here, the 4 layers of you're going to answer questions in certain little like 30, 60, maybe 90-second ads. Second layer questions as well, and then expectations and objections. You're just going to handle all of those, but put it in a lot of different pieces of short form, right? And what this does is every single time they open Instagram, every single time they open the damn app, you're right there. So it's like you always are going to stay top of mind. That's one. So it's like if you're always top of mind, it's way, way harder for them to just like not show up. And then a few things of why it actually works is one thing called familiarity bias. Because the more someone engages with you, the more likely they are to buy from you. Think of the people who you've bought things from. You probably watch all the content that you could about them before you actually bought. If your risk profile is a little bit lower, right? Maybe if you're just hiring, you like to invest in yourself without knowing who people really are and you just care about results, then you probably watched a little bit less. But obviously there's more skeptical prospects than there are unskeptical. It'll probably always be like that. Maybe that's a limiting belief. But anyway, how you actually set it up, bro, this is crazy. I actually have this on my desk right now. You're going to spend this per day, or this. That's it. $100, $200 a day, maybe even $50 a day, depending on how many actual leads you have coming through. And yeah, probably in 30 to 50 short videos, vertical videos. They actually could be horizontal if you're like maybe sharing your screen and doing it on MacBook or laptop, whatever. Yeah, all under 90 seconds. And yeah, the 4 quadrants: questions, second layer questions, objections, and expectations. That's what you want to do. And then exclude the people who like watch 3 seconds of a certain video from watching that again. And then you might be like, okay, so like how do I take someone out of this audience? There's a way to basically put someone in this audience and then take them out like every 2 weeks or something like that. Yeah, there's a way to basically put them in the audience. So whenever the first trigger happens, and take them out of the audience 2 weeks after they get put in. And then it's even going to work again if someone goes through that process, they get out of the audience, and then they want to book a call again and then go through that same process, it's still going to work. So yeah, that's layer 3. Layer 4 is manual setter outreach. So this is where like you could actually see, like if you have a 65% like show rate right now, this could probably get you to 80%. No guarantees though, obviously, because if you have human to human interaction and it's not just fully AI, fully automated, it's like way less trust is there. So some people, I don't know like how you would tolerate this, but if your setter or your closer isn't hitting up people within 5 minutes of them booking a call, it's like you're just running shit wrong. Honestly, like it kind of might be a little bit strict, but it should be within the hour. It definitely should be within 30 minutes. It's like there's really no reason to not have it be within 5 minutes, because like maybe your setter's on a call with someone else, but it's like that's why you should hire 2 setters. That's why you're gonna have to scale. It's simple math. But speed definitely will kill deals. So you have to hit people up ASAP. Like, I mean ASAP. So one thing we also like to do is open with engagement bait, not just like random questions that are like, hey, how much do you have to invest? Where they're just like, holy fuck, bro, like I just met you, I just booked the call. Pretty much ask like, hey, I have resource A and I have resource B. This thing does this thing does that. Which one would be best for you? Like, let me know and I'll send it over. And at that point, it's like they have to choose something. It's like it's way easier to answer a question instead of just say like what's up to someone that you might not think is even real from the prospect's mind. So you can even make like a PDF of like all your client results or something like that, maybe like a Gamma doc or something just like this, and then yeah, send it over to them. And then use selfie video text as well too. Not even when they go silent, but it's like you can do this all the time. You could have your setter and your closer make a group chat with the actual prospect, and then have the closer make a selfie video, be like, so hey, we're gonna be hopping on at this date. I saw you booked for that. Super excited to talk, man. If you have any questions, ask us in this group chat. Yeah, we have those things that we could send to you. Let me know which one is best to get. That's it. Done. Should be no more than a minute. So, and actually, I don't know if there's any way to do this with like ManyChat and with Zapier, but there might be a way to have someone where they book a call and then like maybe ManyChat could like DM them and from the actual founder's account and be like, hey, saw you booked the call. Maybe. I don't know. Never tried it. Just a random idea that came to my head. And this next thing is something that has sometimes worked. I haven't used it too much. Maybe I even fucked up on this, but it's the red flags follow-up. This is what you could use if someone is pretty much just ghosting you or just giving you like one-word definitive answers, where you'll literally just say something like this. Let me know it scares me when potential clients aren't responsive before a call, or let me know it scares me when XYZ, whatever you want to call them, aren't responsive before a call. Our best clients, our best students, they respond and they come prepared. If you want to do this together, I need you on board fully. Something like that, where it kind of gets them, they're like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? They actually take it serious. And yeah, sometimes it could literally just like break the objection out of them, or sometimes even lower their guard too, because they're just like, holy shit, like that's humanizing, you know? That's layer 4. Let's go next. So I want to tell you about the actual psychology behind this, because everything is built on one principle here, which is people behave consistently with their prior commitments. Like, you'll probably hear this on sales calls a lot too, where you do a tie down, where you're going to figure out like a prospect's pain or a prospect's reasoning for doing XYZ. And then later in the call, when they give you a certain objection, you're probably going to be like, hey, well, like, didn't you say earlier in the call you did this, like, and you said this? And it's like they have to move forward at that point because you just called them out, because people aren't going to like say something and then do the opposite, or else they're just insane. Like that's the definition of insanity. So people behave consistently with their prior commitments. So the more times someone says yes, the more likely they already keep saying yes. And there's a few psychologic things that I want to tell you about. So first is reciprocity. If you actually give them real value before the actual call, and they feel like you've been valuable and you actually care about them, if you do all these things that I've talked about so far, they're going to feel like they need to do something for you. So it's like the more you hit them up before the call, the more value they give them, the more value you give them, the more resources you send to them that are framing as things that's going to help them and make them more informed to make a better decision. The more that you do that, the more that they feel like they actually need to show up. If your prospects feel like they need to show up, what's bad about that? I mean, that's exactly what we want. The next thing, familiarity bias. We talked about this, where if someone spends more time with you, they're going to feel more familiar with you. If they're more familiar with you, way easier to close a deal, especially getting a PIF, you know what I mean? Next thing is loss aversion as well too. So the fear of missing something, this is in like literally all of our brains, where the fear of missing something valuable is a stronger motivator than the desire to gain it. So when a call feels scarce, the cost of ghosting goes up. So I'll give you a little analogy that you kind of want to picture your sales calls as, that I heard from a guy who has a really good show rate. And he said that basically, like, picture a kid in like high school who's like 15, and there's this one girl that he really likes, and he really wants to go out with her, but he's too scared to even ask her. And he's probably talked to her a couple of times. Let's say that girl goes and randomly asks him out on a Friday night. He's going to do anything in his power. Like he's going to say yes straight off the bat, but he's going to do anything in his power to make sure he's not late, to make sure he's there on time. He looks good, whatever. And if she asks to reschedule like 30 minutes later, her, not him, the prospect, he's just going to make sure that he doesn't miss it. He's going to make sure that he shows up. That's the exact type of frame that we want to set for our calls, right? So just a little bit of a analogy to help you understand it better. The commitment and the consistency is like every micro commitment. If they reply here, they text you, they email you, they watch a video, they read an email, all of the time that they put into it, if they don't buy something, or if they don't take action with you after they've actually made all that effort to engage with you, they're going to feel like they lose something if they actually don't end up buying your thing or enrolling with you. So that's another psychological thing of why you need to send more emails, why you need to send more texts, why you need to have more touch points with your setters, your closers. It's like the more that they're familiar with you, the more they're going to buy. Yeah. So the full system at a glance. So just a quick recap. So we have the confirmation page. That's where you're pretty much going to set expectations. You're capturing their interest level, which is, it's been the highest right now whenever they book the call. You want to tell them what's going to come next. You want to induce a little bit of scarcity and urgency if you can, if you're really good at it. If you're not, then you're not confident in it, I've got something for you. One sec. And also just stack credibility. Like, you're doing this literally when they book. It's the exact thing that's going to set the frame for all the stuff that you're going to send to them after. And next, emails and SMS. 6 a day is probably where the goal should be if you're getting at minimum of 50% open rate for all your emails. I mean, all of them, by the way. All the pre-call emails that I've wrote so far are at minimum like a 55%. And this is like, 12 emails minimum that we're doing. The highest have been like an average of like 70, 85% at the highest. Yeah, you could probably start out with 2 per day, move it up to 3, see if your open rate diminishes. If it doesn't, just keep going, keep adding them on. Add more objections, think of more second layer questions. That's what really gets you to add the most content here. You might think like, there's not that many objections. It's like, think of second layer questions, think of the first layer questions, think of expectations, think of objections. You can legit come up with hundreds for any niche, probably, if not dozens. Also keep up with SMS, the highest open rate thing. And yeah, like I talked about with the 4 quadrants of the questions, second layer questions, etc. Use that in the retargeting ads. It's literally just content that aids the sales process that you want to send to them. Not 15 to 20, my bad, typo, 30 to 50, like 30 to 50 short form pieces of content. And remember, you're spending this or this per day. That's it. Yeah, no pitch at all. Literally just helping the prospect to be nurtured. And then manual setter outreach, like literally within minutes of booking. You probably know who Brad Scales is if you're watching this video. Last I knew, when they hit $1 million in a month, they had, I think, like a team of 30 setters. And like, bro, if you were not called within 30 seconds, like something wrong was happening. So it should be that fast. It really should be that fast. Hire 2 setters if you need to. Just do the thing. Yeah, so all of this is going to result, you should be getting at least a 70% show rate consistently if you do this, but you can definitely get to an 80% show rate or higher if you do it right and get higher lead intent, and you're not really making changes to the front end of your funnel or the traffic even at all. And you know, if you saw this whole video and you're like, damn, it's like, this is really good. Either I like this, but I don't want to do it myself, or I think I want to do it myself, but I want to know exactly how it works. What you should do is have us build it for you or help you build it. So we work with info, coaching, and consulting businesses doing minimum 30K a month, ideally 50K a month. And if you want to scale your offer, back-end, personal brand, and close more of the traffic that you're already paying for, and even just scale that higher, that's what we do. So we build literally everything, like not even just the back-end selling part that I talked about here to increase your show rate. We're talking about close rate, get you even more traffic through the door, get you better leads, better messaging. We help you with literally everything that you can see right here. And yeah, we just make you richer. So in the description, there's going to be a quick application. Go there, book a call with me. It's not going to be some fucking sales rep. It's actually going to be me. We could hop on for 30 minutes. I'm not going to fucking emotional sell you. I'm actually just going to show you what it is that's going to help you and scale your offer. So yeah, appreciate you tuning in. It was good having you. Make sure to subscribe, watch other videos on my channel if you need a little bit more conviction. So yeah, it was great having you. I'll see you in the next one.